What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and as you may have seen an hour or two ago, Battlefield 2042 has officially been revealed to the world, and we are going to be breaking down everything that you guys may have missed in the trailer. Now, I was lucky enough to actually get invited to an early reveal for only a select handful of creators just last week, and I've been absolutely biting my tongue all week trying to keep the secret of Battlefield 2042. We were able to see the trailer and a heap of gameplay related elements as well. All up, it was about a 2-hour event full of information, and we learned a hell of a lot about the game. I'm going to be using that information to essentially give some more context to the reveal trailer as we go through and dissect it. This may not be the most comprehensive and deep diving breakdown that you've ever seen, however I do have the luxury of knowing a little bit more about the game, and therefore this video won't really involve too much speculation. Rather, I can actually talk about confirmed elements of the game, so hopefully you guys can learn a hell of a lot from this breakdown. Now, before we get into it, I've got a total of 16 videos coming over the next 10 days on both this channel and my other channel as well, all covering exclusive information that we learned at this early reveal event. So be sure to subscribe to this channel, but also be sure to subscribe to the other channel as well. I was lucky enough to actually be able to interview one of the producers on Battlefield 2042, and that video is going up on the other channel around the same time as this one. So be sure to check the description for the link to that channel, and as I said, if you are excited to hear more confirmed details about the game, then be sure to subscribe to both channels so you don't miss out on any upcoming content. But anyway, guys, with all of that out of the way, let's get stuck right into the breakdown of this awesome new reveal trailer. So the opening shot here doesn't show all that much really. The aircraft you can see here is, I believe, called a Condor, and the map that we're looking at in this game is called a Breakaway, and it's the largest map in the game, coming in at around 5.9 square kilometers, which is obviously just completely enormous. A little fun fact for you guys is that this map was actually initially revealed to us as being called Irreversible. However, they actually have changed the name to be called Breakaway. So that's a cool little bit of trivia for you guys, and I've got a video going live not too long after you watch this on the other channel, where I'm going to be going through all 7 of the confirmed maps and all of their details, so keep an eye out for that one. Now, continuing on from this scene, we see our very first moment of a destructible environment with that Condor crashing into the mountainside and all of those soldiers jumping off the cliff, very similar to Damavand Peak in Battlefield 3 for those of you who played it back in the day. One thing you'll notice is that as the soldiers are falling, the majority of them actually have regular parachutes. However, the main character in this section actually has a wingsuit, and I believe this is her specialty gadget that differentiates her from the other characters in the game, but that's not really confirmed as of right now. But wingsuits are confirmed to be usable in the game, which is definitely pretty cool to see. Now we move on to this amazing shot of a huge city with a massive park in the middle. This map is called Kaleidoscope, and it is set in South Korea, and a heap of those skyscrapers are actually accessible and are a part of the map. So again, I've got a video coming soon on all of those details. I won't waste too much time in this video on the map since there is a whole video dedicated to them, but yeah, this map looks absolutely stunning. Now in the next scene, we actually see a robot dog, which I'm going to assume is going to get memed to hell, and it's probably going to be kind of controversial since it is somewhat futuristic. Now, for those of you who don't know, these are actually a real thing in the world already, let alone in 2042. Obviously, right now they're not nearly as advanced as this one is in the clip, but yeah, if you're worried about this game being a bit too futuristic, these are quite literally a real thing at the moment, just far less advanced, so don't worry too much about those. Moving on, we see a few tanks here on a map called Discarded, which is set in India, and then it quickly shows our very first true Levolution moment in the game. These huge ships have doors that can actually be opened, as you can see here, and you can actually access the inside of these huge freighters. So that's just a quick look at some of the events that you guys can trigger on this map and throughout the game. The next scene is set on a map called Manifest, which is a night map in Singapore, and it features a huge container yard, as you can see here. It looks like this soldier could actually possibly have night vision goggles on, but it could be way off there. And then you can also see these soldiers climbing up a pretty high wall there on the containers. So it seems as though the movement and the mantle system has possibly been improved upon, but we didn't actually hear any confirmation of that in the reveal event. You can see a pretty chaotic gunfight unfold here, and then we see the exciting return of taking your enemy's dog tags, which is awesome to see. I cannot wait to start collecting enemy dog tags once again in Battlefield. We then see on the same map a huge explosion, which is definitely far too big to be like a grenade or anything like that, and so this could be some sort of Levolution. It could be something like just a group of explosive barrels going off or something. It's hard to say, but I thought it was worth noting anyway. That explosion is enormous, and it could point to Levolution or even something similar to the V1 rockets in Battlefield 5, for example. We then cut to a snowy map, and this is once again Breakaway, where the trailer started off. This is a huge section of the map that literally looks like it takes up only about a tenth of the map, so that kind of shows how huge this map is. And it just shows off a few new vehicles here that look definitely a little bit more futuristic, but also still, you know, they do look still realistic. They don't don't look too futuristic by any means. The next scene shows a map that is called Orbital, and yes, if you saw the leaks, they were legit. This is the rocket that was shown in those leaks all those weeks ago. It shows the rocket taking off, which is once again another Levolution event in the game, and one other thing that you'll notice is the sheer amount of players that you can see. Obviously, a real battle isn't going to look like that. There's no reason they'd be all so close together, but the reason this is being shown off is because the game is confirmed to support up to 128 players. So DICE obviously just want to show that off somehow, and you can definitely get a sense of how crazy it is going to be at times. The next scene is set on a map called Hourglass, which is actually set in Qatar, and we see a helicopter chase here between a little bird and what looks to be two Apaches flying throughout the city. This map is enormous, and it's not always actually red and dusty like this. There's actually a sandstorm that rolls in from time to time, so the map looks really nice and sort of like exotic without the sandstorm, but it looks just as awesome with the sandstorm as well. And when that sandstorm rolls in, the buildings all light up in neon to add to the visibility, so I cannot wait to see that in game. Now, the little bird outsmarts the two Apaches, and then it heads up to the roof where you can see a bunch of soldiers. There's nothing really in this scene that's like new or anything like that. It's just showing off a typical awesome Battlefield moment, and again, just showing off the scale of the game. One of the soldiers throws a quad bike at the chopper, however, it actually seems to pretty much knock it out of the sky, which honestly I don't think really used to happen in the old games. The vehicles would obviously deal damage, but I don't know if they technically knocked them out of the sky, and so that hints at possibly some new physics in the game, which undoubtedly there will be compared to the older games, but that's just something I thought was noteworthy as well. Now, the next scene shows a fighter jet sequence, and although there's really not that much to talk about in this scene in terms of new mechanics or new vehicles or stuff like that, there is an awesome Easter egg that I know any old Battlefield fans will pick up straight away, and it honestly gave me chills seeing this for the first time. There's a super famous clip from Battlefield 4 of a player who was in a fighter jet, and he actually ejected himself from the plane, shot a launcher at the jet who was following him and took it out, and then his jet is pretty much gliding there for him to actually get back into, and he managed to enter the vehicle and fly off. It's without a doubt the most unreal Battlefield clip ever, and I'd argue it is actually the prime example of what makes Battlefield so much better than every other shooter. And so anyway, to see this scene recreated by DICE taking a fan clip and immortalizing that in a trailer, that is honestly one of the coolest Easter eggs I've ever seen. And if you haven't seen the original clip, just search on YouTube Battlefield 4 jet clip and you'll see just how awesome this part of the trailer is because of that original clip. Now it moves on to another clip of Kaleidoscope with just a heap of chaos unfolding here in the middle of the map. That building behind the soldiers there, if you actually look back at the original clip and see how small that looks in that image, and then how massive that building actually is here, that just shows how huge this map is, and Kaleidoscope isn't even close to being one of the biggest maps in the game, so the scale of this game is just completely unrivaled. We then see lightning strike and all the soldiers look up to see a huge tornado, and yes, this can happen in multiplayer. This thing is another form of Levolution, and it will create absolute chaos on the map, picking up everything in its path and pretty much just throwing it across the map. Soldiers can be crushed by cars like 500 meters away if they're unlucky. It'll tear right through the map in completely random fashion, so it's not on rails or anything, it will go on a different path every time it happens. You can get sucked up into it and fly across the map yourself. You can even see here in the clip that the character with the wingsuit uses it to her advantage and actually pops that wingsuit and flies off. So if you're using that character with a wingsuit and you just want to fly halfway across the map and hit a mid-air snipe, you can do that, which is going to be absolutely mental, and I cannot wait to see a clip of a private match of like 128 players all getting sucked up into this thing. It's going to be yet another one of those only in Battlefield moments. The trailer then ends with the official title reveal of Battlefield 2042, and for those who are maybe newer to the franchise, Battlefield 1942 was the first ever Battlefield game, and then there was also a futuristic Battlefield called Battlefield 2142. So the name Battlefield 2042, it might seem a little bit kind of like random, and to be honest, Battlefield games are always just a shambles, but this one does kind of have some meaning to it, as it's almost a throwback to those two games, as well as obviously just announcing the year that the game is set. So I absolutely love the title. It also mentions at the end here that we will be getting a gameplay reveal on the 13th, so about 4 or so days from now, and I cannot wait to share more about the game once we see that gameplay reveal. So that is going to do it for the reveal trailer breakdown, guys. Hopefully you learned a few things about the game that you didn't pick up on your your first time watching the trailer, although I'm sure by now you've probably watched the trailer about 10 times because it is pretty damn awesome. Like I said guys, I have a ton of information coming out over the next few days and weeks, and specifically just today I have 4 more videos going up across both of the channels. One is all about the information from my interview with Marie Buscard-Granlin. One is going over all 7 of the confirmed maps in the game and showing some images of those maps as well as all the details that we currently know. Another one is covering the new specialist system, which actually replaces the class system, so that is a really important video actually, as that's actually a game-changing implementation. And then the final video is going over the details about the live service of the game, including the confirmation of a battle pass and what we can expect in the first year of launch. So all of that, as well as another 11 videos in the next week or so, is going to be happening both here on this channel and on the other channel as well. So not to sound like a broken record, but if that does interest you guys, then be sure to subscribe to both channels and turn on those notifications. I will leave a link to the other channel down in the description, and I cannot wait to share all of the information that I've learned with you guys leading up to the launch of the game. That is going to do it for this one though guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys out on the battlefield.